A young girl journeys to find the legendary ace, who helps her find the dark truth about Alcia. In a post-apocalyptic world, the worth of humans is measured by a number printed on their bodies. If that number ever reaches 0, they are dragged into the pits of a dark abyss, where they spend eternity. Hina witnesses the dragging of her mother into the dark abyss, but before being consumed, she hands her a glass orb with 10,000 written inside of it, instructing her to seek the legendary ace, who will know what to do. It is now up to Hina to discover the truth about their world, the abyss, and the legendary aces. Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we will be recapping an action fantasy anime called Plunderer. Adapted in 2014 by the one and only studio Geek Toys, the anime has had an enormous hit in the industry with its action-packed storyline and humor that never seems to disappoint. So, before I give any more away, let's get started. The anime starts off by showing us a young and distressed Hina, who sees her mother being dragged into the abyss as her count has deprecated to 0. But before being taken, she hands Hina a glass orb, instructing her to find the legendary ace. Years pass by, and Hina travels far and wide until she finally reaches a town where she comes to meet Licht, a masked pervert who can't keep his hands off her thighs and boobs. Nana Licht's boss guides Hina about the rules of the village, where you have to obey people with a higher count than yours. To her luck, she meets a sergeant calling himself the legendary ace and takes Hina away to his office, only to molest and beat her up in a star streak to steal her stars in the glass orb that he identified as a ballad. A broken and beaten up Hina gets rescued by Licht, who rages his numbers of -999 and displays extraordinary powers that far exceed those of the sergeant. Beaten to a pulp by the ace of flashing streaks, the greedy lieutenant's stars are stripped away from him and given to Hina instead. We now come to another part of town, where Sergeant Lin and her subordinate, Sergeant Pili, are busy putting up flyers to catch a man who wears a distinctive mask. Call it fate, or just plain luck, but they stumble upon a man wearing a weird mask in a pudding costume. Lin tries to arrest him, but gets hurt by his sob story of being ugly and reluctantly agrees to date him. However, their date accelerates into him groping her boob and thighs, which surprisingly helps in increasing her count. Finally, Pili had enough of the fun and tells Lin that he is in fact the ace that they are looking for. Furious for falling into his trap, Lin tries to arrest him, only to have him escape from between her fingers. Lieutenant Jail Murdoch finds Licht messing around with Lin and showcases his power to trap Licht in an iron jail and beats the living daylights out of him, canceling his every move, diverting and overpowering him until he finally gets Licht pinned against the wall with his hands cuffed. He then questions him, but upon not getting a clear response, he produces an iron weapon to beat it out of him, only to have Lin save Licht. Anger boiling out of Murdoch, he degrades Lin for her inefficiency to capture the ace, causing her to cry. Breaking away from the iron cuffs, the ace of flashing strikes delivers a series of thunderous hits, showing his rage that defeats Murdoch. The effect of their vigorous fight results in the ground breaking, almost sending Lin to her death, but Licht quickly comes to her rescue, hands her over to Murdoch, and escapes once again. Murdoch, Lin, and Pili journey forward in search of Licht, only to discover a town reduced to ashes. Assuming it to be the doing of Licht, Murdoch finally confronts him and asks if he was behind the destruction. Their quarrel gets interrupted in between by Nana, who instead proposes a drinking contest to settle their differences. During their competition, the lake abyss reopens, emitting thunderous sounds unheard of before. But those sounds bring back traumatic memories to Licht, who orders everyone to leave. Out of the blue, a helicopter appears, controlled by Sonoha Mizuka, the ace of pursuit. Aimlessly firing rounds after rounds at Licht, she then tells everyone of Licht's dark past of him being a bloodthirsty killer like her. Taking a young girl as hostage, she forces Licht to tap into his Shamelman personality, making him into a killing machine. They both get into a star streak where Licht ultimately wins, but his Shamelman personality doesn't stop there until Murdoch summons an Iron Warrior to knock him out. A hurt Nana opens up about being an ace and a time traveler, begging Hina and the others to jump into the past and change it for the sake of Licht. They all jump into the past where they follow young Licht into the academy. They come face to face with Shamelman, who lays out the rules of the academy. Each student will be given a set number of stars. If they wish to earn more, they have to carry out a set of tasks. However, they can always steal other stars to get the advantage. Murdoch understands that this is where the origins of the star streak has started. Shamelman has his eyes for Licht, who showed promise in his abilities. Knowing that he doesn't have much time and the plan of Alcia was in danger, Shamelman starts human testing and making Licht his first subject. A war breaks out between different countries over a world food shortage, causing them to attack the academy, killing everyone in sight. The surgery is a success, and Licht becomes the ace of flashing strikes as he, in the blink of an eye, destroys the weapons of his enemies. However, he gets forced to murder all of them when they bluff of releasing an atomic bomb. The horrific incident made Licht promise to never let his friends kill, and for that reason, he will be the only one to do it. Bringing Hina to tears, she embraces Licht with a kiss, allowing him to fondle her breasts, telling him she loves him and will wait for him before she disappears into the future. The waste war begins, and Licht goes on a killing spree that reverts his cheerful, pervy personality into a cold-hearted murderer. His friends worry over his change, beg Schmelman to also make them into aces so they can help, which he does. Slowly, Schmelman's plan of Alcia comes into action as he creates balance and chooses only the cream to stay in his world, while the rest get left back in the abyss. This corrupted ideology doesn't sit right with the others, who rebel but sadly either get killed or thrown down into the abyss. Not bearing to see Licht become a monster, Nana takes him and escapes. Back from a past that they couldn't change, Hina runs to meet Licht, stripping her shirt off to allow him to touch her, but he holds back, calling her too young. Depressed over the rejection, Hina gets drunk and tries to force herself over Licht. On the other hand, Nana cries over the fact that she could never get Licht to smile since her face reminded him of the war. Finally, Licht clears out the fact that he only hated himself for the murders. It was not Nana's fault that he always wore his mask, telling Hina that he in the past had killed her father, who was among the people who rebelled against him, and that is why he always left her and couldn't bear to face her. Drugging everyone, Licht escapes to the capital, wipe out Schmelman's army, but gets beaten and buried under a pile of rocks by Doan, who is now an ace. The next day, Hina and the others go to the capital only to find Licht unconscious and buried under rocks. They try to save him, but get captured by the SSU. Doan tortures them until Schmelman arrives, now a completely different person, who orders that they be used as subjects for his new ace drug before leaving. Lynn somehow escapes but gets injured in the process. She reaches Licht and wakes him up. As fast as lightning, Licht saves Hina from the clutches of Doan, but gets into a fight with him as well as Sonahara. Licht apologized to Doan for breaking his promise to him 300 years ago as the two get into a heated battle with each other. Sonahara gets occupied with Murdoch, knowing full well only one person can win. Doan sends Licht into a black hole. Trapped in the hole, the different masks of Licht degrade and mock him for leaving his friends behind and going on a killing spree, and that he should die. Luckily, Hina's voice reaches him on time as he escapes the black hole, defeating Doan. The next day, Licht and the others make plans to retrieve the rest of the 7 ballots to create an army that doesn't kill. And cut. Hina ventures out to find the legendary ace and fulfill her late mother's promise, along with discovering the dark secrets of Alcia. She finally finds the ace of Flash Lightning, but can never get him to stay, as he always escapes. She finally understands the dark secrets of Alcia, the evil intentions of Schmelman, and the rough past of Licht. Will Hina finally be able to change Licht and create a world where no one will have to kill? Stick around and find out.